Hey, 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 what is going on, RoK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today I am going to show you how to set up a basic kingdom council in a brand new kingdom when you don't know anyone and no one knows you. So strap in, it's going to be a pretty simple, but it takes work to get these things done. And we're only going to really be talking about the setup phase, and we might expand on this in a future video, but I really wanted to make this because this is something that is such a heavy factor when it comes to kingdoms needing some level of direction and guidance in the beginning, because it factors into so many things. And one of the most important ones that it does is the general universal player drop-off. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But before we get started, as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell. And of course, if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description down below. All right. So first things first, how do you actually go about setting up a kingdom council? I'll explain. It doesn't matter if you are coming into the kingdom with yourself and you just want to be an alliance leader. Maybe you're someone who's coming in with a small group and you're able to fill up one alliance. Maybe you're coming in with yourself and a buddy. You guys are going to run alliances and you're going to be a small group. Maybe you're coming in with 3, 4, 5, 6 plus alliances and you're a bigger group. Doesn't matter. The most important thing you can do is to establish a line of communication. And I will give you an example because this is one of my secrets that, regardless if you want to say it's a secret or not, it's one of my kind of treasure trove boss tips, if you will. And what I do when I go into a kingdom with a group, the very first thing I'm doing, and I'm typically doing this more than once, but to start, you want to wait until probably day 2 is a good one, or until the kingdom gets cut off, of where now you have the next kingdom that's open, because then you would have gotten everyone into that kingdom that you have. This is important because if you are to go out and communicate with people too early, let's say a couple hours into the kingdom, that's not going to cover everyone that has made an alliance. It's not going to cover everyone that's in a position where you would reach out to these individuals. So you want to wait until the kingdom has really established itself. And I would say day 2, day 3 is a great time to do this. And again, you can arguably do it a little earlier, but I recommend waiting until the kingdom has been cut off. We're a new kingdom as far as where you're not getting any more new players from downloads or restarts or from new players joining. And the next kingdom past yours has already came out. Then, once that time hits, or any time after, but preferably no later than I would say day 3, you then want to go into the kingdom, and you want to go to, and I can't really do this right now, I think because I just have a low account, but in this situation, you would go to the rankings. You would look at the alliance leaderboards, and you would click on the alliance leaderboards. And I'll just show you an example here. Right, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here, right? So the boards would typically take you to the individual, the leader's name, right? So it'll probably look something maybe similar like this if you get to their name. What you want to do from this point is you want to send them a mail and or chat with them, but really you want to send a mail first. You want to type up something that is a very nice templated message. A good example would be to use something such as a Google Doc, and from there you would then type up your introduction. You would say, this is who I am, this is my history, my experience, this is the size of my group or how many people I have, and then this is what we're looking to do. We're looking to set up a kingdom council where we get leaders from the top however many alliances. I will tell you my general rule of thumb is that if your alliance is active and it's engaged and it has more than 5 people, or it doesn't have just a few people in it, and you're building territory, you should be included, at least until things even themselves out, right? You may not include someone with 5 members at 500,000 power or something like that, right? Just as an example. But if they have pretty much near full members, they're active, they're building flags, even if they're rank 30, I would still include those people in, and more if I needed to. And that's a little pro tip there. So from here, you got your message, you got your pre-drafted message templated. Bear in mind, you can only send, there's a limitation on how many messages you can send out. So you may need to enlist, another pro tip here, you may need to enlist another individual or 2, if not more, to also send these mails out. And what you do is you copy paste it. You can already format it and do all your colors, do your bolds, your underlines, etc. And you just have it. You just send the Word doc to everyone or the Google Doc. They copy paste it and they send it. Just make sure you're editing out the name because you do want to be personable. Another pro tip. And then you're messaging all the alliance leaders up to, who knows, right? Maybe you go to a certain point, whatever that threshold is. And then from there, you kind of sit back and you wait, right? And obviously you want to include your Discord name, and maybe if you guys already have a Discord that's set up, you can do it that way. Otherwise, you can just wait for people to reach out. Maybe you just have a temp server that is set up that is just for leaders and management, right? And then you decide later if you want to do a Kingdom Discord or something, and then who's going to run and be a part of that management team. And so from here, you have reached out to everyone. You have your templated message that's set up. You have now you're just awaiting. You're waiting to hear back from people now, and then you start getting them into a Discord server, whether it's a temp server or just a management server, or if it's a Kingdom Discord, and then you have a management section in there. And from here, you would want to set up having something like an announcement channel. You want to have a chat. You want to have a voice chat or a voice channel. You want to have something such as topical channels, right? Maybe to discuss certain things, or you can make threads if you want to do that off of the main chat channel. Maybe you have a votes channel. But try and keep it simple, because the main thing is that you're really just trying to incite discussion, right? That's what you're trying to bring about, is some healthy discussion and trying to get everyone on the same page. Because the sooner that you do that, the less likely you have the chance of, for example, give you another pro tip. If you wait a week or 2 weeks, however long, you now have a higher chance of running into situations where alliances are more established, and now you're getting to a point where you're going to start fighting over, some alliances may start fighting over resources. They'll start fighting over holy sites because you've let them advance too long to where they need to now feel that they need more territory, or they want to fight over this, so they're going to come and say, oh, I want to get this, and they'll say, no, we were here first. Whatever type of excuse or hurdle that arises, there's a less likely chance that comes about if you have conversations earlier rather than later. Another pro tip. And so you've set this up. You're using threads or channels to set up topical sections. For example, maybe you want to have a channel or a thread about MGE, about territory distribution, about holy site distribution, about PvP on the kingdom, right? What are the PvP rules are going to be? Maybe you guys want to figure out how to sync up mails, right? Maybe you make a mail or a library channel or thread where you work on some people having someone that writes up mails, and then that way you guys can sync sending alliance mails out as a way to kind of get around doing something like a King's Mail because you just don't have access to it that early. So there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with setting up a group that early. And again, this is just if you want to set up a basic council in your kingdom, and the best way to really go about doing it. So you got to have someone write something up. Then you got to have people that are going to copy paste it and send it to however many, 30, 40, 50 alliances, or maybe you guys just want to do 10. I mean, again, right, whatever your preference is, my recommendation would be to do more than that, and for obvious reasons. And I'll give you one reason here for those of you that are still sticking around. If you really want to learn something or learn more, is that you have to understand that if you take away the choice to be included, that in and of itself is cause enough for people to walk away and to not play in your kingdom. Because if you can't even invite them to something such as just a meeting that really isn't deciding anything, it's just a conversation starter for dialogue and introductions and building, it's to start to building relationships and establishing some rapport over a period of time, you're probably going to have a decent amount of people that will either leave pretty quick or over a short period of time. Because nobody wants to feel as though they're not being included. And to them, that could mean, well, man, we're not going to be able to make it to Zone 2 now. We're not going to be able to make it to Zone 3. We're not going to get anything. Right? It's just kind of a cool kids club for the top 5 or top 10 alliances. So something to just be wary of when you're going into a kingdom and you're thinking about how you're going to approach certain things. So that is pretty much it for me. Again, I'll probably do maybe a second part or a third part to this, but I really wanted to talk about just setting up the foundational structure and what is the best way to go about that when you're in a kingdom that does not have any structure, or if you're going into a new kingdom that has yet to establish any structure. With all of that being said, if anyone has any questions, comments, please feel free to let me know in, I guess I should say, the comments down below, no pun intended. But if there is anything, let me know. And what I will say is I want to pose a question to those of you. If you have been in a kingdom before where your kingdom did not try to do any early conversations, any early communication talks, I want to know, how did it turn out? Did it affect anything in the kingdom? And then on the flip side, if you were in a kingdom that you did this early on, within the first couple days, or first week, I'll even extend it there. Let me know, how did it go for you? What did you notice in the kingdom because you had conversations early compared to having them later? And I would really love to hear any stories and any insight from those of you that have done either or. So let me know down there in the comments below. That's it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch you later.